What's up, RPG fans, and more importantly, Pokemon fans? I'm Greg Dalmadge, and I'm here to unpack today's Pokemon Direct with you. So first of all, we're greeted by Ishihara, who unveils a remaster of a classic from 2006 on the Game Boy Advance, the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team games. So we have Blue and Red now combined into one for a remaster coming out on the Nintendo Switch in March, called Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. A lot of things in there. Whatever. It looks awesome. I love the update they're getting, and that's not to say that the GBA version doesn't look fantastic. Like, that pixel art would have aged beautifully if they'd just done a direct port, but it's nice to see that they put a little extra effort in to get some extra things in the whole, I guess, cartridge as it is. So they got this amazing updated art style that looks absolutely fantastic. It's this watercolory storybook kind of look, which is absolutely fantastic for this game, and I guess the audience they're trying to target, which would be kids. It's whimsical, it's delightful, and it's going to read beautifully on the Switch. I love the characterization that can be brought to the models now since they're in 3D, so again, the storytelling was great on the classic ones, and you got the gist of everything that was going on emotionally, but now they got more to play with, so hopefully it'll play well into this entire new art direction of the game. What's also fantastic, it looks like they threw in a little Mega Evolution tease at the end there where Charizard goes into its Mega Evolution, so we're going to see some more of the updated Pokemon mechanics into this game as well that will, I'm going to guess, update the storytelling and or the methods of getting through the dungeons and tackling your enemies, which is really quite rad that they're not just taking directly what was in the original, but it looks like they're going to be updating it with some of the new features that Pokemon has evolved with over the years. So like I said, the crazy thing is that it's already coming out in March, and as far as I can tell, we've never had this teased whatsoever at E3 or any other conference or Direct before this. So March 6th, this comes out less than 3 months away, and we're going to get our hands on this absolutely beautiful new rendition of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series. It's great because I'm excited for Gwen to see this. This is one that she wasn't able to get into since it's dated by her standards, and that's not to say that she wouldn't appreciate it, because she likes playing the old school games. GBA old school. Old. Anyways, I never got into them either myself, just because time, money, all that stuff didn't kind of fall into place, but I was always curious about them, so having this opportunity to revisit the series, having an opportunity for her to play what is clearly a series geared towards her, and to see a new audience approach it with a new style, it's going to be great. So next we turn it over to Masuda and Omari over at Game Freak, and it's amusingly how much everybody over there is clear about the fact that they work at Game Freak. It's I don't know. It's a very technical thing, and it's funny to me every single time. It's like, take a shot every time they say they work at Game Freak. We know. Anyways, all that aside, they unveiled some really cool information that we're going to get expansion passes for Sword and Shield. After a little bit of, I don't know how to put it, they're very gently tiptoeing around, I guess, a lot of the controversy that was raised before the game even released. It's doing well, but they seem a little gun-shy with a lot of what they're kind of saying of like, we hope everyone's enjoying it, and we hope that you've found something to like. They're unfortunately never going to please everybody, and that's just the way it is, and they kind of know that, but understandably with every new unveiling, they're going to be approaching with some trepidation, which kind of sucks. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, but I hope that the fan base keeps being more supportive than negative moving forward, because they're clearly working very hard on new content, because looking at this, they've got a lot in the pipeline for these amazing expansion passes for us. So let's get into that. So now we get into all the exciting stuff, the meat and potatoes of the expansion passes and what they're going to offer us, and it looks like we got a couple of new locales to visit. So teased off the shore, there's what's called the Armor Isle, and they gave us a whole bunch of interesting things to see, and the first thing that is not lost on me is the fact that they're letting fans know more Pokemon are coming, please don't panic. And again, the whole National Dex thing is its own thing, and whether you're for or against it, you do you. I think it's fine that they are doing as many as they can, because it just seems ridiculous and unreasonable that there's going to be more, or I guess to try to do all of them, rather, but it is what it is. So we are getting more Pokemon, a lot of the old classics as well. They were not shy about showing us off a new Venusaur and a new Blastoise, which means we're going to get Bulbasaur, yes, and Squirtle, also yes. I'm excited to get me some Reggae Venusaur on my team, which looks like they have either a Dynamax or a Gigantamax evolution for both of these Pokemon. And then they were also teasing a whole bunch of other ones when we started rolling into the Crown Tundra, which looks like it's going to be down south of Galar. So we've got these two new regions. They're bringing in a bunch of classic Pokemon to fill out the decks more. And sure, we're not going to get a full Pokédex, but we're getting more. And there's still going to be a bunch of great teams that you can build out of what we've got. We get some more costumes. We get, as anyone who listens to the Random Encounter podcast, Alana was complaining that we didn't have enough options for the bikes. Now you get more options for the bikes, it looks like. Get some costumes for that, some new footwear and backpacks from both regions, and they both seem to give a different flavor. So we're going to the beaches. We see a nice chill Slowpoke in there, who looks like it's got a new evolution that they are being very sneaky about teasing. Because I didn't give away what's going to be on its head, which is probably going to be one of those combination Pokemon that seems suggestive. Ignore me. Anyways, and so we got a new Pokemon coming from the Slowbro evolution, and then there's going to be all the legendaries from the core series, but different again. And so I guess these are going to be like regional variants, which is rad. And then all the Reggies are there. I mean, except for Fizame, but whatever. We've got all the Reggies and some new ones, which look awesome as well. So we got something that might be like a fairy or a dark, and electric Regice, or not, Regilectric? I don't know. Anyways, that's really neat as well. And both these locations look so different. The tundra is understandably snowy and delightful, because there wasn't really, so far that I've seen, a lot of that going on in Galar, aside from when you get a hailstorm going on in the wild area. So this has definitely reinvigorated my love for the game, and I'm excited to see what more things are going to get brought. So we got these, looks like 2 new legendaries, which kind of look like either a bear or a dog, or dog-bear, I'm not sure. I mean, we have Pancham and Pangoro, but now it looks like we have a different martial arts bear now in the family, which I'm excited for, because I really enjoyed Pangoro and their moveset in Black and White. They're one of my standbys going through that and into X and Y. And I am excited for another martial arts bear. They look like they're also wearing masks in like the 2 forms that we see of like our 2 legendaries, so I don't know if that feeds into what's going on. So as this kind of teaser ends, we want to know how we feel. We got some more to unpack. So what's awesome is that both of these new locales and all the content within are going to be included in the expansion pass. So we're not going to have to buy a bunch of different DLCs. It's all just in one nice package. I mean, to a point, I guess that's not as consumer friendly, because if you like one and then you turn out you don't want the other, then you don't have to buy it. It's nice if it's split into 2, and maybe they'll do that anyways. But if you do buy the expansion pass and then you get all of it, which the pricing seems pretty reasonable. I saw it today, I think it was like $30 or something like that. Might be US, I'm not sure what it is Canadian, I didn't really look into it. But it's another $30 for what's probably going to be another game's worth of stuff. And the first one comes in June 2020, which is awesome. We'll get to go explore the Armor Isle, and then sometime in fall we're going to get the Crown Tundra. Anyways, they turn it over to director Tani from Game Freak. Now I'm doing it. And he kind of goes into more of the details of both the DLC packages. So beyond the teaser, we get first and foremost some information on the Armor Isle, where there's going to be a dojo, and we get to be, I guess, apprentices to the master there. His name's Mustard. It's Master Mustard. Yeah. And he was Leo's master at one point as well, and was the champion previously at some point. And he's got a couple other apprentices as well, which apparently we can bump into right now in the Galar region in our version before even any of this DLC drops, which is kind of cool to get a little taste of it. It's a pretty tasteful way of doing the advertising, I guess, for this game. I mean, right inside of our menu now, there's an expansion pass option to go in and buy it, so they're not being shy about trying to market it, but implementing it into the game is done really delicately. I've already encountered Avery, who's going to be the shield person. So you go down there and they're asking for your armor pass, which will take you to the Armor Isles. It's not saying like, oh, it's a DLC thing that you need to go into the shop and buy. Like, they just say it's a thing, and your brain is smart enough to go, oh, the in-game armor pass for the train would be obviously the expansion pass that I should go buy, in real-world terms. They don't need to spell it out for anybody. Like, I appreciate them not treating us like idiots and not trying to put it into business speak into the game world. It's great. So, Avery is horribly dressed, FYI. I don't get his fashion sense at all. I appreciate the uniform choice, but adding the ruffles and the high socks, Avery, man, he's out there, I guess. Whatever. If you're playing Pokemon Sword, who you'll bump into is Clara, although the announcer kind of makes it sound like Calabra. I was like, oh, that's... Anyways, there's a weird way of saying it. I'm not sure if it was just them misspeaking and they didn't catch it, or just the way it sounded like they're saying Clara. At any rate, maybe Calabra was an old holdover and she was supposed to be a fighting type trainer or something. I don't know. So they're both going to be using specific types of Pokemon. We've got Avery using his Psychic types, hence his uniform, and then looks like Clara's got the Poison type one, hence why she's a Poison type. So beyond these two new rivals, we get into some more of the story content and find out that Kubfu is going to be the first evolve of this new legendary Pokemon. So Kubfu is very obviously going to come into play very early in the story, since they basically teased that they're integral to this story and that we're going to get entrusted with it, so it's not really spoiling much. So we find out that Kubfu is going to evolve into Urshifu, which is the Pokemon that we saw in the reveal trailer. And then there's those two forms, which are called the Single Strike and the Rapid Strike forms, that it can apparently evolve into throughout the journey. And the Single Strike is a dark fighting type, has different kind of moves from the water fighting type that is the Rapid Strike. And they both are going to be able to Gigantamax and get different moves and different abilities. So it's really neat that no matter which version you get, you're going to get some diverse fighting styles to try out. It's not, I guess, going to be one that you can switch back and forth in between. Once you go one route, it looks like that's what it's going to be. I'm just curious how that's going to be determined, whether there's something through your mentor Mustard now in this expansion that is going to teach them to fight a certain style, or if it's like the evolution stones or it's a special item. We're not sure. We'll find out more, obviously, as the unveiling comes closer to June. But it's kind of neat to get this whole dojo mechanic really embedded into the story and make players feel a part of, I guess, this journey with this Pokemon. I guess it's probably going to work hand in hand in some way. No, we'll see what happens. So things with the armor, I'll wrap up with confirming some of the stuff we saw in that teaser, that there's going to be Gigantamax versions of our 3 starters, and that they're going to get G moves, or G Max moves. And it sucks that we have to pay for it, but it is what it is. We can't change that, unfortunately, but it sounds like they're making all the Pokemon that are available in there anyways through link trading. So the updates are going to come out, so you will still have access to seeing these Pokemon and trading other people for them. So you could get a Gigantamax version of any of those starters just through trading, even if you don't buy the expansion pass, and I think that's pretty neat. And then there's all the different costuming, and it looks like we can dress like Marnie and a bunch of other people, so obviously there's going to be tons of new costume options to maybe even let you look like the various NPCs throughout the game. And then Tawny takes us over to explain what's going on in the Crown Tundra. So right away what catches my eye is the fact that we're going to a snowy realm. Like I said, we haven't gotten a lot of these, and I'm excited for that. And the fact that they talk about a certain character who is going to make you part of their team, so I guess that's going to be the whole hook, that you're coming in to explore this region, and they've got lots of temples and stuff like that for us to uncover, which is pretty cool. And the thing that's really neat is that we get to go down further into these Pokemon dens, kind of like dungeons, and that's really exciting. We get some new gear to wear, we got a lot of Nomura kind of zippers, and then maybe not as many, but there's a lot of zippers on these things, lots of pockets, I guess, but it's all first aid, safety, whatever. And then new Pokemon, of course, like this Cosmic Space Deer or something, whatever. Yes, Cosmic Space Deer, that's what I'm calling it. Calyrex is a psychic grass-type Pokemon with a weird big balloony head that moves gracefully, which makes sense since its body dangles under its... it's supposed to look like a crown, I guess, because Crown Tundra, its face is in the logo, makes sense. Anyways, we get this whole cool wintry world that it is kind of the center of. And then more importantly, what I'm super stoked for is a new co-op way to play this game. Up until now, it's all been about basically trading and fighting your friends when you meet up with them, but now we have this new co-op exploration mode to go down into the Pokemon dens that we haven't further explored up until now, and that's really neat. And in these dens are all the other legendaries from all the games in the past. So they tease Mewtwo, and then of course Articuno, Moltres, and Zapdos, and basically everyone since, and the opportunity that we can capture some of them, maybe not all of them, I'm not sure. That was a little loosely related to. They confirmed that there's new evolutions of the Regis. And then otherwise, they kind of wrap things up by going over the fact that there's going to be a lot of new Pokemon, and that both of these new regions are going to be completely open like the wild area, which is really exciting too. Or, I don't know if the entire thing is going to be open, or if there's just going to be more wild areas, because I feel like it would be really aimless to kind of wander around these big open islands, and there's not much to do except maybe they'll direct you toward the certain space you're supposed to go to, but I hope they kind of keep it similar, where maybe there's a big communal wild area and then you go wherever you have to go through routes again. I don't know, I'm of two minds. I like the option to fully explore this as a true open world experience, but the classic going through the routes did work really well. We just could have used, I think, more wild areas in between each of the routes. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Either way, what they're doing is working. We've got a whole new bunch of areas to explore. There's going to be an opportunity to play with your friends in these wild areas as well, and go fighting with the Dynamax and Gigantamaxes and other Pokemon that you're going to find Dynamaxed in throughout all the different monster dens of these new wild areas. And then, of course, there's a whole lot more costumes and such to add to our ever-expanding closets. And that was about it for what was going on in these new trailers. However, it does sound like they were teasing also that there's going to be more to come down the line, because they said that what they're working on with these expansion passes is kind of a taste of things to come. What I don't know what this means, though, is if we're going to get more in the expansion pass or a second expansion pass and more to grow on with Sword and Shield, because it is neat, like they said earlier in the video, that this is a bit different from how they've done things in the past by basically releasing a whole new game. This is actually building on the existing save, which is great. They're not asking us to fully go out and shell out for another $80 game. But will we get more in the Sword and Shield world? I don't know. Or is this just them, again, expanding and playing around with the world to give us the next generation, which will hopefully be better? Because Sword and Shield has a lot of room to grow. We've talked about this on our podcast as well, and in the review, that this is a great platform, and we will see if the next generation improves upon it. So from here on out, the rest of the video basically wraps up with kind of the housekeeping and letting us know that new updates are coming out, which, like I said, I experienced earlier. It's very obvious where the expansion pass is under your menu in the Pokemon game. So part of that update also comes with meeting up with one of the two new rivals that are heading over. Like I said, there was Clara in the Sword version, and then we had Avery in the Shield version. And then there's an opportunity to bump into the Slowpoke, which I did, and I caught, and I'm excited. But it looks like I'm going to have to wait until the Armor Isle and the Cloud Tundra releases, so that way I can get the necessary items I need to evolve it into the two different Galarian forms. So that's going to be a little bit of a wait, I guess, but in the meantime, I can beef that bad boy up. Finally, they announced that we're going to get Pokemon Home finally in February 2020. Most everybody has beaten this game by now, so it seems weird that the whole trading up system has come so late in the game. But I guess it just took a while to figure things out, but we'll be able to trade up from our past generations and everything that we've stuck into the Pokemon Bank and whatever we caught in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. So long as it's in Sword and Shield, we'll be able to adventure with some of our old friends once again. Details on how that's going to work will be forthcoming, I imagine, as the content comes out. I don't know how complex of a process it's going to be. I remember myself backing out of the idea of getting into Pokemon Bank and the transfer system because there were so many different apps that how they interact. I don't know. People figured it out, and that's great. There's people who have their same Pokemon from Gen 1 all the way through. More power to you. I hope you get to bring it into Sword and Shield. Otherwise, we'll figure it out. So finally, Ishihara brings it all home, letting us know all the details we already know. When it's coming out, June, fall, and that you can buy it quite easily from going into your menu, and it won't even take you out of the game. It'll just bump you over to the eShop. You spend $30 American, roughly $29.99, and I think it's, I don't know, it's like 40, 45 Canadian. I can't remember what our exchange rate is. Anyways, it's more expensive for me. And you'll be able to have that on standby for when it releases in June. But as a purchase bonus, we get some cool new costumes. So we get a uniform with Pikachu on it and one with Eevee. They don't really look tacky. They're pretty cool, actually. So that's kind of an incentive to buy in early. I'm not sure if they'll be available after the fact, but they probably are. They're pretty good about that whole thing. This whole Nintendo Direct has basically done what it needed to do. I'm excited to keep playing. I was getting a bit lukewarm on Shield, I won't lie, just because it feels a little hand-holdy and simple, and I feel like I'm kind of rolling through it pretty easy. The real trek is to try and get all the Pokemon, because there is still a lot to do and a lot to find, and they're not easy to track down all the time. And it is just a matter of time, but still, it gets a little grindy and slow in that regard, so I've been kind of fighting with it. But now with 2 new worlds to explore, a bunch of new Pokemon, a lot of which I am familiar with, that makes me excited to get these new Pokemon, to share these new experiences with the players, and this new co-op opportunity that's going to come in the Crown Tundra sounds rad as well. So I can hopefully build a new team, try and get more competitive, do some more trading with Gwen. She's already finished Pokemon Sword, so she'll be excited to have some more stuff to get into, and we'll see what happens. In the meantime, as they said earlier in the Direct, we have that demo that dropped for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, and I'm going to give that a shot and see what Gwen and I think of that, and maybe have some thoughts for a future podcast episode. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and hopefully you have some thoughts to share on the Pokemon Direct, and maybe you're as excited as I am, maybe you're not. let me know down below in the comment section. And as always, subscribe to our channel if you want some more updates. And finally, just give us a like. That's pretty about it. Anyways, you've got a couple suggestions here now. That's about it. You can go watch whatever else you want to watch. And as always, check out RPGFan.com for your news, reviews, and more.